silver screen.
What a wonderful scene!
Hey there, movie lovers, let's take a look back in time when the Twin Cities picture shows were truly in their prime. From the Orpheum stage to the state's Grand Marquis, it's a Technicolor wonderland for the whole family. So grab your sweetheart and head downtown today for a swell time at the movies. Hip, hip, hooray!
The dawn of Twin Cities entertainment, 1883 to 1899. Welcome, film buffs and history nerds. Today, we're taking a fast-paced trip back in time to explore the glittering, fast-changing world of movie theaters in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul from 1884 to 1919. Pop your popcorn, because things moved fast back then. April 2nd, 1883, St. Paul sets the stage a little early. The curtains rise for the very first time at the Grand Opera House. October 31st, 1887, talk about a historic Halloween. The People's Theater officially opens in Minneapolis. Around this same time, the Hennepin Theater gets a makeover and rebrands as the Harris Theater, while the legendary Lyceum is also up and running. 1890, change is in the air. The People's Theater in Minneapolis rebrands as the Bijou Opera House, while St. Paul welcomes another Grand Opera House to the scene. 1894, St. Paul keeps the momentum going with the grand debut of the Metropolitan Theater. 1898, history is made. The People's Theater in Minneapolis transforms into the Metropolitan Theater and treats audiences to its very first moving pictures. Over on the other side of town, the Wonderland Theater opens its doors. November 27, 1899, just before the turn of the century, the Star Theater in Minneapolis makes a triumphant comeback and reopens. The Nickelodeon boom, 1903 to 1909. 1903, St. Paul kicks off the new century by opening the Unique Theater. October 22, 1904, the iconic Orpheum Theater makes its grand entrance in Minneapolis. Just days later on October 31st, Minneapolis gets its very own version of the Unique Theater. 1905, the massive Minneapolis Auditorium Theater opens to massive crowds. 1906, St. Paul fires back, opening its own spectacular Orpheum Theater. 1908, a massive year for Minneapolis entertainment. The Criterion and Lyric Theaters open to the public, and on December 28, the Miles Theater joins the party. 1909, a total roller coaster of a year. The Crystal Theater opens on August 28, followed quickly by the Gaiety Theater on November 18. The Rosebud and Princess Theaters also debut in Minneapolis, while the Lyceum Theater at 718 Hennepin sadly takes its final bow and closes. The Theater Explosion, 1910 to 1913. August 29, 1910, Minneapolis welcomes the brand new Schubert Theater, while St. Paul matches that exact energy by opening its own Schubert Theater. A whole wave of other unnamed theaters also opened this year. 1911, the Grand Theater opens in Minneapolis, and the Empress Theater debuts in St. Paul, alongside several other new venues including the Astor, Camden, Cozy and Cyril in Minneapolis. Meanwhile, St. Paul's Crystal Theater rebrands as the Colonial, only to close its doors shortly after. 1912, lights, camera, action. The American Theater opens in Minneapolis. The Grand Opera House gets a full, beautiful rebuild, and St. Paul welcomes the Starland Theater, plus the Agath, Arion, Court and Crown Theaters in Minneapolis. 1913, time to cozy up. The Cozy Theater and the Lagoon Theater both open in Minneapolis. Fun fact, the Lagoon would later go on to become the famous Uptown Theater in 1929. Over in St. Paul, the Faust Theater opens for business. Drama, rebuilds, and closures, 1914 to 1919. 1914, a wild year of musical chairs in the theater scene. September 6th, the Saks Theater opens in Minneapolis, only to rebrand as the Strand Theater on November 18th. October 5th, the Palace Theater opens in Minneapolis. The Central Avenue and Franklin Theaters open in Minneapolis, and even New Richmond, Wisconsin gets in on the action with the Gem Theater. The closures: the Miles Theater closes down for a massive rebuilding project, while both Grand Opera houses, in Minneapolis and St. Paul, permanently shut their doors. 1915, out with the old, in with the new. January 17th, the old Miles Theater reopens as the completely rebuilt, state-of-the-art Garrick Theater. November 9th, the new Garden Theater drops its very first advertisement and opens up. The Nokomis Theater, Minneapolis, the Victoria Theater, St. Paul, and a wave of other venues including the Bungalow, Calhoun, Coman and the University Theaters officially join the local nightlife. 1916, the silver screen dominates the Twin Cities. April 22nd, the Rialto Theater opens in Minneapolis. May 28th, the Astor Theater lights up Minneapolis. October 22nd, the spectacular Pantages Theater opens in Minneapolis. St. Paul welcomes the Palace Theater, along with a few other new spots such as the Alhambra and Oak in Minneapolis, but bids farewell to the Empress Theater in St. Paul, which closes down. 1917, Minneapolis expands with the Brandt Theater and the Cedar Photoplays. Meanwhile, St. Paul reopens the old Empress Theater under a patriotic new moniker, the New Liberty Theater. 1918, St. Paul simplifies things, dropping the new to just become the Liberty Theater. Plus, the old St. Paul Grand Opera House gets a second lease on life, reopening as the Garrick Theater. 1919, wrapping up an incredible era. The Jewel Theater opens its doors in Minneapolis, while St. Paul says a final goodbye to the Star Theater as it closes for good. Thanks for watching this trip down cinematic memory lane. If you loved this deep dive into Twin Cities history, remember to like and subscribe for more awesome history content.